Greetings! Welcome to my first video essay. If you know me from other videos, it's probably a meaningless short or a Bible lesson. If you're a Bible lesson person, you may not enjoy this format, so you're aware. Frankly, not my target audience here. Because most of my Bible lesson people are 70-year-old Christian men. This is for the gay people. So if that overlaps, go for it. Or if you just want to see it anyways, I suppose. Today I'm talking about queercoding and the Hays Code. This all started back in the 1930s with the Hays Code. If you don't know what the Hays Code is, it's the Motion Picture Production Code, which is a system of self-regulating of movies, banning profanity, suggestive nudity, graphic or realistic violence, sexual perversion, which includes being gay, I should have googled how to say this, miscegenation, that's interracial relationships, and drug use. Profanity was defined as any use of profanity, including religious exclamations or vulgar speech, which was prohibited. Suggestive nudity was considered complete nudity, suggestive dancing, or anything sexual in nature. Interestingly, this included any act of seduction. Graphic violence and crime included depictions of glorified crime or police officers being killed by criminals, among other things. Sexual perversion was considered drugs depicted as acceptable, LGBTQ people in a good light, or interestingly, childbirth. Miscegenation is interracial relationships, as I said. The code also bans talking bad about religion and law, and required that the sanctity of marriage in traditional home and family be upheld. I didn't think we'll do this method. So, what does the Hays Code have to do with why gay people find monsters and morally questionable people relatable? Thank you for asking. If you noticed, it doesn't ban depictions of queer people. It bans depictions of queer people shown in a good light. So many writers and producers who wanted to show queer people made them vaguely gay and filled the antagonist role with these characters. Captain Hook from Peter Pan is an effeminate pirate captain with an unusually close relationship with his first mate Smee and an obsession with an immortal teenage boy. And even his hatred for a fairy and its company could be taken as internalized homophobia. Subtext. Jafar from Aladdin and Hades from Hercules are flamboyant and power-hungry antagonists, and their primary competition being a teenage boy who doesn't think he's special. Doesn't that scream camp? They also had a special together. It seems gay. I haven't seen it, but Alfred Hitchcock, a director from the Hays Code era with a very queer-coded name, loves to make antagonists in his stories equally queer-coded. Some of which are Jack Favell from Rebecca, Brandon and Philip in The Rope, and Norman Bates in Psycho. Pre-Hays Code, many villains were already queer-coded. Take Stoker's Dracula, for example. Stoker implies homoeroticism by Dracula, hides themes of domination and submission throughout the novel, and some interpret the vampire's lack of gender preference when sucking blood to represent pansexuality. On top of this, it is thought that the story could have been fueled by Stoker's own struggle with his sexuality. In Shelley's Frankenstein, Victor's repulsion to his creature can be seen as a representation of internalized homophobia. The creation itself can be seen as a defiance of traditional means of reproduction and heteronormativity, and the creature shows the experience of the other men in society and relates heavily with queer audiences. Since the end of the Hays Code in 1968, queercoding in media has evolved greatly. Obviously, it's now acceptable to portray out-of-the-closet characters in the media. Characters like Nimona from Nimona demonstrate that rumors about queer people don't have to be accurate. Through her journey of being outcast from society and rather than hiding, forcing society to accept that she's good enough already as she is. Not all gay people are evil, effeminate villains with an agenda against a teenager. Ursula and Scar, both Disney villains in the late 1900s, show that not all queer-coded characters are the protagonist or a good guy. Ursula from The Little Mermaid was based off of drag queen Divine and exemplifies this in many ways. Behavior and design-wise. I don't think the drag queen Divine is evil, I swear. I could phrase that better. Scar from The Lion King claims that he will practice his curtsy, acts incredibly camp, and has traits typically associated with a queer man, like his slim build, sarcastic and witty nature, and dramatized facial features resembling makeup. Newt from The Maze Runner was my transgender awakening. I don't remember writing that. This is perfectly normal because Newt's behavior towards people, specifically men, like Thomas and Albie, are shown to be much more affectionate and physical than many straight men in today's culture are willing to have with another guy. While doing research on Newt for this segment, I made the discovery that James Dashner has actually confirmed that Newt is queer, so, that was pointless. This one's kind of stupid, just a heads up. Comment from the last episode of the new My Little Pony show. He's an awkward twink and coded character, colored in the trans flag. I may think this purely because I think clumsy nerds give twink vibes, and I keep seeing Hitch and Comet fan art while researching. And yes, I watched that show. I live with a 10-year-old. It's sad. Now, before we talk about Harry Potter, if it was not freaking obvious, I don't support J.K. Rowling. I don't feel like I need to say that, but I'm trans. We don't like her. You should have known that already, but I figured I'd clarify if you didn't. Returning to our villain theme first. Peter Pettigrew. He spent his teenage years following around two hot and flirtatious men. Canonically speaking, it's two. I disagree with that assessment, but canonically. Okay. He is also known to be timid and meek, another stereotype of a twink. Now, I want to talk about Lupin for obvious reasons, if you've seen one of these before, probably. He's a werewolf. The experience of living with lycanthropy in the magical world is a lot like living as a gay person in a traditional and unaccepting area. To do a not Marauder one, I think Charlie Weasley is ace, which is purely off of the fact that he lives alone with dragons. It's giving D&D asexual. I don't have much backing for that one, but I made the realization that both of my examples were Marauders, which are very gay, I must say. So, what does all of this mean, really? Well, what I've gathered is that gay people relate to monsters because the experience of having to hide something about yourself that many may that may not be observable or inherently bad, yet still be scrutinized for it because you can't hide it right, applies to both old-timey monster stories and closeted gay people. Harry M. Benshoff, an accredited writer on the subject, states, "Both movie monsters and homosexuals have existed chiefly in shadowy closets, and when they do emerge from these prescribed places into the sunlit world, they cause panic and fear. Their closets uphold and reinforce culturally constructed binaries of gender and sexuality that structure Western thought. To create a broad analogy, monster is to normality as homosexual is to heterosexual. The reason queer people may relate to Disney villains, like the very effeminate, not murderous villains, you know? I lost my place. Maybe the relation we feel toward the experience of being ostracized and villainized by the average people in our society. Another potential reason could be that many villains desire transformation, like the gaining of power, a promotion, or striking it rich. And many LGBTQ plus people may find solace in relating to that to their own journey of self-discovery, acceptance, and coming out. The most important takeaway of this video essay is that we can't just be sure that any of these characters are gay or straight or bi or pan or ace or etc. There's a lot. I'm not going through all of that, okay? It's why there's the plus. All the things. We can't be sure of any of it unless it's directly stated. I lost my place again. Because they're just that, characters. Anyone can be gay, and not everyone that acts gay is gay. Queercoding and speculating about the sexualities of characters is harmful to society because we can be led to believe that if you look for the signs that society says points to a queer character, then you'll find gay people in the real world. Not all queer people in our normal human society act like a Disney villain, or a werewolf, or a dramatized twink. Like, twinks tend to like bears. A bear looks like a straight man by Disney standards. A bear isn't a straight man. So, like, for the sake of all of us twinks, remember there's gay people that don't look gay. So don't try to do this with any real people, because it will not work. Trust me. It doesn't work. I got a microphone. I wasn't sure if that was clear. Bye.